All right, so today we're going to dive deep into this story of Sundar Pichai,
Okay.
the CEO of Alphabet,
Right.
the parent company of Google.
Right.
And what I find so fascinating about him
Yeah.
is that, he comes from this background in India
Mm-hmm.
where he didn't even have a telephone growing up.
Right.
And now he's the head of this company that connects like billions of people across the world.
Yeah, it's really incredible.
That's a wild story.
Yeah, and we've got some excerpts from a biography about him that really kind of dig into his story and how his journey shaped him as a leader and his vision for the future of tech.
I'm really interested in that, like how his background
Yeah.
kind of influenced his path.
Absolutely.
So let's start with his childhood.
Okay.
Growing up in Chennai, India,
Right.
it wasn't exactly Silicon Valley.
No,
No smartphones, no internet.
not even close.
He didn't even have a phone in his house until he was 12, which is like mind-blowing to think about now.
It is. It is. It really makes you think about
Right?
how much technology has changed
Yeah, in such a short time.
and how it's shaped our lives.
And I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
It's like growing up without constant tech,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it gave him like a different perspective
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
on technology's power.
I think he saw firsthand how it could bridge gaps and create opportunities.
Right. Like it wasn't just this thing that was always there. It
Exactly.
was something special.
Yeah, and it's interesting because even as a kid, he was fascinated by numbers
Oh, right.
and problem solving.
So it's almost like,
Yeah,
foreshadowing.
like a preview of what was to come.
Yeah.
That analytical mind was already developing.
That's pretty wild.
It is.
So then he joins Google in 2004,
Right?
and his first big win is this thing called the Google Toolbar.
Oh, yeah, the toolbar.
Do you remember that?
Of course. I mean, who didn't use that?
You could search right from your browser.
Yeah, it was everywhere.
It was brilliant.
It was such a smart move.
It was.
Because it subtly made Google the default search engine for so many people.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Just by being right there in their browser.
Like they didn't even have to think about it.
Exactly.
It just became like second nature to use Google.
Yeah, and that was a key step in Google's rise to becoming
Yeah.
like the dominant search engine.
Wow. So it's like they were planting the seeds for everything that came next.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then Pichai gets even bolder.
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets interesting.
He has this idea to build Google's own web browser.
Right.
And this is back when Internet Explorer was like king.
Like the only game in town, pretty much.
It seemed like a huge gamble.
It was, going up against Microsoft like that
Yeah.
took a lot of vision.
But he saw that opportunity to make something better.
Exactly. He wanted to create something faster, simpler,
Okay.
and more integrated with Google's services.
So it wouldn't just be a standalone thing.
Yeah. All right, it would be part of this whole ecosystem
Okay.
that Google was building.
And Chrome, as we all know, just took off.
Oh, yeah, exploded in popularity.
It was sleek and fast.
And it just worked.
Right.
No fuss, no muss.
It was just like a clean break from what came before.
Absolutely. And here's the really interesting part.
Okay.
Chrome was open source.
What does that mean?
It means that anyone could contribute to its development.
Oh, wow.
So they had this huge community of developers
I see.
all working together to make Chrome better.
It's like crowdsourcing innovation.
Exactly. It was a brilliant strategy.
Wow. So that really was a turning point.
It was.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing, right?
Well, even the best leaders have setbacks. And I
Yeah.
think Google Glass is a good example of that.
Oh, yeah. Google Glass.
It was this really cool idea.
like straight out of science fiction.
Right. But it just didn't take off.
Yeah. I remember that.
I think it was just ahead of its time.
Maybe.
And there were some privacy concerns, too.
All right. People weren't really comfortable.
With the idea of a device that could record everything they saw,
Yeah. That makes sense.
it was a tough lesson.
But even from that, they learned.
Exactly. Pichai has always said,
Yeah.
fail fast to learn fast.
That's a good philosophy.
It is, especially in the tech world where things move so quickly.
Things change so fast.
You have to be willing to take risks and learn from your mistakes.
And adapt.
Yeah.
So he's climbing the ranks at Google.
Right?
And in 2015, he becomes the CEO.
Of Google.
Yeah. And then just a few years later, he becomes the CEO of Alphabet.
The whole parent company.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible.
It is. And his leadership style is quite interesting.
Oh, how so?
Well, he's known for being humble and focused.
Oh, that's different from what you usually hear about, like...
Yeah, the stereotypical Silicon Valley CEO.
Yeah.
He's not flashy or loud. He's just very effective.
Okay.
And under his leadership, Google has expanded into all these new areas.
Like what?
Artificial intelligence, hardware, even sustainable technology.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's clear that he's got a broad vision for the company.
Yeah, he's not just sticking to one lane.
Not at all.
Okay, so now let's talk about Project Dragonfly.
All right.
This was Google's plan for a censored search engine in China,
Right.
and it caused a lot of controversy.
It did. It raised some really important questions.
Yeah, like about Google's commitment to free access to information.
Exactly.
Because if they're censoring results in one country,
Right.
where does it stop?
It's a slippery slope.
It is. And the backlash was huge.
Yeah, you had Google employees protesting.
Oh, wow.
Human rights groups speaking out.
It was a big deal.
It really put a spotlight on the ethical challenges
Yeah.
of doing business in certain parts of the world.
It's like they had to weigh their business interests against these moral principles.
It was a tough situation.
And in the end, they decided to scrap the project.
They did, which I think shows that
Yeah.
even a company as powerful as Google can be influenced by public pressure.
And by their own employees.
Absolutely.
It's like they realized they had to listen.
Yeah, they couldn't just ignore those concerns.
It's a powerful example of how,
Yeah,
even in the tech world, ethics matter.
they do.
And, of course, there's the whole issue of data privacy
Right.
and how Google handles user information.
That's a big one.
It's a conversation that's not going away anytime soon.
It's not.
It's like this ongoing tension.
Yeah, between giving people personalized services
Right.
and protecting their privacy.
It's a tough balance to strike.
It is. And Google, under Pichai's leadership,
Yeah.
is constantly trying to navigate that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a challenge that all tech companies are facing.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
something that they're very aware of.
Yeah, and they're trying to be more transparent about,
Yeah.
What data they collect and how they use it.
Exactly.
But let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and talk about some of the amazing things that have happened under Pichai's leadership.
Okay.
Like AI, artificial intelligence.
That's a huge one.
I mean, think about Google Assistant.
Right. It's become so integrated into our lives.
Like it's just there.
You just talk to your phone and it does things for you.
It's almost like magic.
It is kind of amazing when you think about it.
It is.
And Google Assistant is just one example of how AI is becoming more practical.
Yeah, like it's not just this theoretical thing anymore.
It's solving real-world problems.
Okay, so what are some other examples?
Well, Google is investing heavily in machine learning,
Okay.
which has applications in healthcare, renewable energy,
Oh, wow.
even art.
It's mind-blowing to think about the possibility.
It is. It really feels like we're on the cusp of something big.
Yeah, like AI is going to change everything,
I think so.
but as AI gets more powerful,
Yeah.
we have to be careful, right?
Of course, we need to think about the ethical implications.
Like what if it gets out of control?
Well, that's why it's so important to have these conversations now.
Yeah, before it's too late.
Exactly. We need to make sure that AI is developed responsibly.
And used for good.
Absolutely.
Okay, so another area where Google's been successful under Pichai
Yeah.
is Google Cloud.
Oh, yeah. Google Cloud's a big deal.
They're competing with like Amazon and Microsoft.
And you're doing really well.
It's amazing how they've managed to become such a major player.
It is. I think it speaks to their expertise in data and analytics.
Right.
They've really leveraged that to create a strong cloud platform.
And they're constantly innovating,
Yeah, they're not just resting on their laurels.
which is impressive when you consider how big they already are.
It is. It shows that they're still hungry.
Yeah, like they want to keep pushing the boundaries.
Exactly.
Okay, and then there's the whole sustainability thing.
Oh, right. Google's commitment to carbon-free energy.
Yeah, they're aiming to be completely carbon-free by 2030.
It's a bold goal.
It is, but it's really encouraging to see.
Yeah, it shows that they're taking this seriously.
Like it's not just lip service.
They're putting real resources behind it.
Yeah, and it sets a good example for other companies.
It does. Hopefully it'll inspire others to follow suit.
You know, it's interesting. When you read about Pichai,
Yeah.
you learn all these like personal details about him.
Oh, like what?
Like, did you know he has a photographic memory?
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he can remember phone numbers like it's nothing.
That's impressive.
It's crazy.
Must be helpful in his line of work.
Right. I can barely remember my own phone number.
And he's met so many people.
I know.
So many names and faces.
I can only imagine.
It's a valuable skill to have.
And here's another interesting thing.
Okay.
He actually turned down a job offer from Microsoft.
Before joining Google.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And it wasn't just any job offer. It was a high-level position.
So he could have been a Microsoft executive,
He could have.
but he chose Google instead.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what his career would have been like.
Right. What if he had taken that other path?
It's fascinating to think about.
It is. But I guess it all worked out in the end.
It did. He seems to have found the right fit at Google.
And speaking of fit,
Yeah?
it's interesting to consider his leadership style.
Oh, yeah. How would you describe it?
Well, people who've worked with him say he's very calm
Hmm.
and a good listener.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he's not like a stereotypical
None of
CEO.
you see in movies.
Yeah, all like yelling and demanding
Yeah.
things. He's much more measured,
Yeah, it sounds like he takes a more thoughtful approach.
which makes sense given his background. Like
Yeah.
he's always been analytical and focused.
And that approach seems to be working.
Yeah, he's been very successful.
And it's not just about his personal success.
Right.
It's about the impact he's having on the world.
Yeah, Google is shaping the future in so many ways.
Absolutely.
And Pichai is at the helm of it all,
He's leading the charge.
which a lot of responsibility.
It is. I mean, their decisions affect billions of people.
It's mind-boggling when you think about it.
It is, but it's also exciting.
Yeah, because technology has the potential to do so much good,
It does. It can solve some of the world's biggest problems.
but it also has the potential to cause harm.
That's true.
So it's all about how we use it.
And who's making the decisions?
Yeah, that's why it's so important to have these conversations
To talk about the ethics of technology.
and to hold leaders like Pichai accountable.
Absolutely. We can't just blindly trust them.
We have to be informed and engaged.
And we have to be willing to speak up.
Yeah, if we see something that's not right.
Exactly. We all have a role to play in shaping the future.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Sundar Pichai,
Yeah.
I hope you're walking away
Yeah.
with a deeper understanding of his journey
And the challenges he faces.
and the incredible impact he's having on the world.
Yeah, he's a fascinating figure.
He is.
And I think his story is a reminder that
Yeah.
technology is a powerful tool
But it's up to us to decide how we use it.
and to make sure it's used for good.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a powerful lesson.
It is. So looking ahead.
What are like the big questions that remain, when it comes to tech and leadership?
Well, I think one of the biggest is how do we balance all this advancement
Yeah.
with ethical considerations?
Right, because technology is getting so powerful
Yeah.
that it's almost like,
It can be scary.
yeah, scary in a way.
Yeah, like we're playing with fire a little bit.
Yeah, so how do we make sure that,
Yeah.
technology serves humanity
Right.
and not the other way around?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is. And, as we've been talking about Pichai,
Mm-hmm.
his story is really a microcosm of like the whole tech industry.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it.
It's not just about him.
No.
It's about the decisions that all these tech leaders are making
And how those decisions affect all of us.
because they're shaping the future
They really are.
in a way that, previous generations never could.
Yeah, it's a lot of power.
It is. And I think that's why it's so important for us to be aware of these issues,
Yeah,
to understand the stakes.
absolutely.
Because it's easy to get caught up in like
Yeah.
the excitement of new gadgets and all that.
The shiny new toys.
Yeah. But we can't forget about the bigger picture.
Right. The long-term implications.
Exactly. What kind of world are we creating?
And what role do we want technology to play in it?
Yeah. And I think Pichai's story shows that
Yeah.
we all have a responsibility.
Not just the CEOs.
Right. Like it's not just up to them
It's up to all of us.
to shape the future of technology.
And to make sure that it's a future that we want to live in.
So to kind of wrap things up,
Yeah.
we've learned so much about Sundar Pichai.
His journey, his leadership style.
Yeah. His successes, his failures.
Controversies, the innovations.
It's been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
And I hope that, our listeners
Yeah.
are walking away with,
More than just knowledge.
like, I hope it sparked something in them.
A curiosity to learn more.
A desire to get involved.
Yeah, to ask questions.
To maybe even challenge the status quo.
Because the future of technology is not predetermined.
Right. It's not set in stone.
It's something that we're all creating together.
Through our choices, our actions.
Our voice.
So yeah, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
keep thinking critically, keep asking questions.
And keep pushing for a better future.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.